Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I have some free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Now, today's ink is by Diamine, here in the plastic 30 milliliter bottle. Camera. Midnight. That took long enough. It's a dark, rich blue. It's a nice blue. Also, I realized that pretty much every major brand has their version of Midnight Blue. So I thought I'd do a Swab comparison. So here's Diamine in the middle. And then here's Private Reserve Midnight Blues with an S. Noodler's Midnight Blue. Mont Blanc Midnight Blue, which has all kinds of weird stuff going on in there. And Diatramentis Midnight Blue, which is kind of green. But yeah, I think it's interesting that I just happened to put this one in the middle, and it ended up kind of being nice medium between all of these. But anyways, all the tests were done in this JinHao X750 with just the standard provided nib, which in my experience on this pen has always been very medium in both line and flow. And let's check out the chromatography. So, not a lot of water resistance, which is very common in Diamine inks. They're not really known for their waterproofness. You'll see that a little bit remains at the bottom, but most of it flees up to the top. Sort of a lighter blue, and then a darker blue, and then a very dark blue up at the top. And it's more noticeable in these two. In that very dark blue up at the top, you actually get a little bit of sheen. And of course, I'm not going to be able to get it on camera, because, you know. Anyways, paper test. Top down in density, Clairefontaine 90 grams per square meter. 16 seconds to dry. Camera. Jeez. I said it felt a little wet in this nib, like a little wetter than usual. But, yeah, I think you can see you're starting to get some sheen in here already. Decent shading, no bleed feather spread, pretty well behaved. I said that because of the saturation level and because it felt slightly wet, the dry time for such a medium nib really didn't surprise me. I think it's a dark, nice, rich blue. Here, water test, as you can see, really not a lot remains. Dyed the page just a little bit. Most of it's gone. No bleed. Not much echo potential, despite it being a very dark blue. Next is Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter, where it took 17 seconds to dry. And I just noticed that the spots take a while to dry. But yeah, it's you definitely get that red sheen all throughout. It's just easiest to find it in the scrubby. Nice shading, nice dark, rich, deep blue. Pretty well behaved. Water test, again, it's really essentially all gone. There's some spots, but dyed the page just a little bit. No bleed. Not a lot of echo potential, which is nice considering it is a fairly dark blue. Next is Tomoe River Paper, where it took 21 seconds to dry. Where, again, the heavy saturation and the slightly wet flow, that makes sense. But here you definitely get sheen. And you get it in the letters too, but I always have such a hard time getting that on camera. But, trust me, it's there. Yeah, no bleed feather spread. So there's a good deal of show through, by which I meant echo. But that makes sense because this is a very thin type of paper, and it is a very dark blue ink. And once again, that's essentially all gone. Dyed the page just a littlest bit. There are tiny little spaces remaining, but yeah. Next is 20-pound copier paper, which this paper is just, you know, I mean, I bought it because it's supposed to be like, oh, you know, the stuff that you're likely to just come across in life. But, yeah, it's pretty bad. it got a little bit lighter in color, but I think that might be because it was stripped of the shading. It spread, and there was some feathering, as you can see. There was bleed, but I mean, this is a medium nib, and the flow was slightly wet, but still, I wouldn't want this much bleed through. Maybe in a smaller nib, I imagine it would do better. Best water test we've seen so far. Still dyed the page a bit. It did feather a bit and did explode a bit, but it's the darkest we've seen, the clearest we've seen. Next is Mead Notebook Paper, where it didn't behave quite as badly as it did on the Copier paper. As you can see, it spread much more here. And there is some spread and there is some feathering, but it's all very patchy. Like here you see it there and you see it here, but you really don't see it anywhere else. Same with the bleed, which makes me think that, makes me think it has something to do with the way the paper was pressed. So, yeah, again, this is a darker water test than we saw in the fancy papers, but it exploded and it feathered and dyed the page, so. And next is Moleskine Notebook Paper, and this is the new Moleskine Notebook Paper, which I hate because it works. And that's infuriating because I know most of the time Moleskine paper is not going to behave like this, so take everything you're seeing here with a grain of salt. 9 seconds to dry. Here, I still got a bit of sheen. You obviously see some shading. Yeah, no bleed, no spread. I said the feathering was patchy, which it was. Like, you only see it like right at the edge of the F or here at the T, and it's very minor. Water test, it's still mostly gone, but there's a bit more than we saw in the fancy papers. Bit of feather, a bit of exploding. No bleed. And here, this was just to test if I'd had the laid side or not. So I just want you to see what I mean when I say laid side or unlaid side. Like here you can see you get much more woolliness, you get much closer to feathering. The shading is sort of wonky. But then you look at the same thing on this side. Look at how clear that is. Look at how well behaved that is. So I don't think people realize that which side of the paper you write on actually has a big effect on your writing. So anyways, there you go. Diamine's version of Midnight Blue. It's a nice dark blue. It sheens a bit. I'd say it's just on the side of wet, like maybe a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. It's a nice dark rich blue. It shades. Can be a little problematic on the cheaper papers, but maybe put it in a fine nib or an extra fine nib instead of a medium. So for your consideration from the Triple N Network, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.